This patrol has so far been a complete nightmare. Ironically, it is my 13th, so maybe I should have expected bad things to happen. But being hunted so relentlessly by enemy aircraft, we have never experienced that before. It doesn't matter which way we turn, it doesn't matter how fast we sail, it doesn't matter how long we stay submerged. As soon as we are surfaced, they appear on the horizon. The flight commander on that airfield must be really good and really experienced. He must know about the limitations of our submarine. He must be aware that when we submerge, we can't sail as fast, and really, we can't stay submerged for too long. So he knows that he just has to focus his aircraft on a specific area to find us again. Combine those skills with good mechanics who can turn around the machines in a hurry, with good pilots and with observers with good eyes, and you have yourself a very effective search party. And honestly, this sends shivers down my spine. I am not ignorant in regards to the implications of this. I am aware how far aircraft have progressed during the past few decades. It hasn't been even half a century since the first powered flight. The older generations, they remember and have lived in times when aircraft didn't exist. When aircraft were nothing more but a fantastic concept. A dream that humanity had for thousands of years, that they would one day be able to fly. It hasn't been long, just a few decades, that aircraft were invented. The aircraft that were used during the Great War were nothing more but slow kites that were as much a danger to their own pilot as they were to the enemy. And look where we are today. Look at the developments this technology has made and continues to make. And when I think about that, it fills me with dread, because I realize that what we have experienced just a few hundred kilometers away from Freetown might just be a sign of the things to come if we can't finish this war in a timely fashion. I am more than glad that we were assigned a new patrol area, and we are racing away from Freetown as fast as we can, away from those aircraft that might swoop down on us at any moment.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi. Beide Maschinen AK voraus.
It has been a very long time, but yeah, those enemy airplanes.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
Let's crash dive. I'm not sure if they have actually seen me. Let me check. They don't appear to be coming towards me right now, which is pretty incredible in and of itself that this is the case. Yeah, periscope down. We are going under. I'm still diving.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi. Tiefe unter Kiel ist 1,0,0.
Derzeitige Tiefe 2,0.
Alright, keep diving. Bring us down, just in case.
Derzeitige Tiefe 3,0.
But in this weather, in these waves, they apparently, maybe, didn't see me.
Tiefe 4,0.
Which I find to be incredible. But first of all, hello there, and
Derzeitige
welcome.
Tiefe 5,0.
Yes, thank you. And welcome to today's episode of the amazing Silent Hunter 3 campaign with the OneAlex Mod Edition.
Derzeitige Tiefe 6,0.
I've been sailing away from Freetown. Let's actually slow
Jawohl,
down the
Herr
boat now.
Kaloi. Kleine Fahrt voraus.
Good. I've been sailing away from Freetown, and I am now about 1,000 kilometers away from it. I've been able to travel the whole night without encountering an aircraft, and even for basically almost the whole morning. All the way up until right now. So distancing myself from the airbase has done a lot to reduce the aircraft patrols that I encountered. It has done a whole lot. And you know, we didn't travel that far. It's just a few hundred kilometers after all. But it's already making a huge difference. And I think, and many of you think so too, judging by the comments that I received on the previous video, many of you think that this is essentially kind of a bug, that I'm encountering so many aircraft at this time in the war, down here near Freetown. It seems extremely excessive. And I had a look in the config files. Thank you. I had a look into the config files of the game. Some other people also had a look into those config files and gave me a few hints. And I think that there is indeed a little bug. Indeed there is. The airbase near Freetown seems to have an elite rating. And that is giving that airbase a huge multiplier. A completely ridiculous multiplier when it comes to aircraft patrol probability. A veteran airbase, which is the next lowest level, would have a multiplier attached to it of 0.7. The elite airbase has a multiplier of 3.0. In and of itself, these two numbers don't mean much, but maybe if I don't forget to do it, I'll put it on the screen here, the config file that I'm talking about. It goes basically from a poor airbase with a multiplier of 0.1, novice 0.2, competent 0.34, veteran 0.7, which is already quite a jump from 0.34, and then suddenly to 3.0. That seems to be such a huge and improbable jump that I consider this to be an error. Or, second possibility, maybe at this time in the war there shouldn't be any air bases with elite rating, and the elite skill is basically reserved for late war. Maybe that's the case. I'm still not quite sure what exactly is happening or why it is happening, but I can make a pretty educated guess that it is because of those values that we have seen this, let's call it, anomaly near Freetown. And I'm not the only one who has experienced that. Other people in the Discord have said when they patrolled near Freetown, the aircraft patrols were absolutely ridiculous. And that could be the reason for that. So I would strongly advise against changing any config values while you're on patrol. But I will change those values when I return to port. Definitely. I will be reducing the elite airbase modifier down to maybe 0.9 or something like that. Just so that it's more or less in line with the other values. Right. With that said, no bombs have dropped on me. I think those airplanes really didn't see me. Still, as a precaution, I will stay submerged for the whole day, basically. Yes, I'll do that. Let's be really careful, be extra careful. I'll stay submerged for the day, and we will continue our journey to our new patrol area, which will be... I think it will be out of range of the enemy aircraft. It is over 1,500 kilometers away from Freetown. So I think we should be quite safe up there. Will we find enemy ships? That's a different question. We'll see. For now, let's continue. I really have to admit that so far this patrol isn't going very well. So for a few days already we now had quite bad weather. And by quite bad weather I mean pretty much this. Constant rain. Zero visibility. There's really no chance to find a target. Or even if we should find one, to engage it. I think my visibility is maybe like 400, 500 meters, something like that. Not more than that, definitely not. So this is bad, this is very bad. It's the 18th of April and we still haven't fired a single torpedo. Our fuel reserves are almost down to 50%. That's the real issue. But for now all that we can do is to continue our patrol in our new patrol sector and to periodically dive down to perform a hydrophone check. That's all that I can do. Anything else is simply a waiting game, waiting for this weather to clear up. Isn't this a lovely sight? You know, this game, despite being so old, and with the mods that we are running of course, it can look really, really pretty. And this looks to me like a really, really pretty sunrise. Made even more pretty by the fact that the fog and the rain have finally disappeared. It is now the 19th of April, so the bad weather has held for quite a few days. But now that it's gone, we are finally free to search and engage targets. Finally. Free from enemy aircraft, free from bad weather, finally freedom to go ahead and do what we came here to do. There is one little tiny issue, however. I am not quite sure about our patrol area. I mean, I will patrol it now because this is what was assigned to us, but I'm not sure about enemy ships going through this area, because on their way from north to south or from south to north, if they were to go through this area, they would also be passing through Portuguese waters around these islands. Would they do that? Will we find targets here? We'll find out. We'll find out together. Let's continue. This patrol is truly cursed, and it really shouldn't surprise me. It is the 13th war patrol after all. But the happy times, they are definitely over. We have been at sea for over a month. No ships sighted. None. Zero. No contacts. Nothing for us to shoot at. It is now the 3rd of May 1941. We are still in our assigned patrol area. And, well, this area is not completely senseless. I mean, there are other U-boats not too far away. There is one in EJ-14, I think 107 or 105, not quite sure anymore. But I got a radio message, position report from them. So they are over there. And we have another boat somewhere in ES, I think it was... I'm not quite sure, but it was somewhere in the north of ES. There's another boat somewhere here. And I'm here. This is where I'm patrolling, and I'm continuing to patrol, but I have one very serious problem. And that is that my fuel reserves are starting to run a bit low. We are now down to 40% fuel. I can't stay out here for much longer. I can stretch it a bit longer, but when my fuel reserves hit 30%, I will have to turn north and sail the long way home. Maybe we'll find something along the way, maybe not, but I will just have to do that. The patrol has been long enough already. We haven't seen anything, and for those of you who want to, you can calculate how much real time I've spent playing this patrol without really having much to show for it. I'm usually running the game at times 128, so like this. I usually don't go higher than that. And yeah, if you fancy it, you can calculate how much time I have played. It was quite a lot. But sadly, no contacts. So, for now, I will continue to patrol here for a few more days until my fuel reserves reach 30%. Then I'm definitely turning towards home and I will have to be conservative with my fuel. Let's hope that my navigator has things under control. So, did you have time to calculate how many hours I have played the game for this moment here? We are now, we've advanced to the 7th of May, early in the morning, and I'm finally leaving the patrol area after many hours of staying here without encountering a single target, neither here nor down there in the south. Well, at least in this patrol area up here we were not constantly harassed by airplanes, so that's something. But right now we are returning home. Weather, wind speed 9 meters per second. And let me get a range report from the navigator. By the way, I have a small submod that I use that changes this icon here to make it a little bit prettier. Maximum range at current speed is
Jawohl, Herr Kaloin.
6,800 kilometers only. I didn't wait for the fuel to drop down to 30%. We are, I would say, at 35-36%, something like that. Let's see if I ask you for a report, can we see that a little bit better? Yeah, I would say 36%. That's our fuel level right now. And it really isn't a lot. So at this speed I have a range of 6,863 kilometers. Is that enough to get home? Let's have a look. I plotted a way home that has a bit of a zigzag pattern because I hope that on my way home I will manage to find a target to... Well, it doesn't really look good if you return home to port after being on patrol for, what will be most likely 1.5 months, and you return home with a full load of torpedoes. That's just not good. So we'll try to find something along the way if we can. But can we get home? 6,800, let's have a look. Oh, it's gonna be close. 6,000 kilometers is my way home if I follow the course that I've set here. Of course I can take out a few zigs or zags and shorten the way. So that's an option that I always have. But I might also have to speed up occasionally. For example, when we get here close to Gibraltar, it might be advisable to traverse this area a bit faster. I'm keeping a distance of at least 900 kilometers to Gibraltar just to avoid the worst of the planes that are stationed there. And I might have to speed across the Bay of Biscay as well. Especially the final part here. That will burn a lot more fuel. Or maybe if we encounter something along the way, I will have to speed up to overtake it, to engage it, who knows. So by drawing the course like this, I'm keeping... How can I say that? I'm keeping a reserve of fuel available to me. I can optimize the course, make it shorter, and give myself a few hundred extra kilometers that way. Right, but now we're leaving. I of course did inform BDU of my decision, or well, of my situation I should say. They sent a response. Show more courage. Charge at the enemy. You sent me here. Who am I supposed to charge at if there's no one here? Oh god. Well, okay, I'm charging straight towards home and towards any potential enemies along the way. We'll see, but it looks like BDU had very high hopes for their top U-boat ace, and I'm not fulfilling those hopes this time. At least not until now. Let's continue our way. It's a nice day. We're in no danger of airplanes. We can travel surfaced, and we'll resume this if we either arrive back home at port with nothing happening in between, or if something does happen in between. Let's see what happens. Spoiler alert, something does happen, but it would make this episode way too long, so we are keeping that for next time. I hope that you still enjoyed today's episode, despite there not much happening, but many of you told me that you would rather see such an update episode instead of no episode at all, and I'm happy to oblige. I hope you're excited for the next episode. Until then, have some great days and goodbye.